What a feeling. Coming back to your very own campus, to your very own university, but this time not as a student, with a very different job role and a different purpose in hand. Yes, I have had the privilege of being an alumni of one of the most reputed institutions of Northeast India and also sharing the same space with some of the very eminent dignitaries of this revered institution. Today, we are at the Department of Foreign Languages, Tezpur University, and the reason we are gathered here is to start a very enlightening discussion on the possibilities and pathways to explore in the field of foreign languages. Foreign language, it's a medium, it's a global connect medium, and what better than foreign language? When we speak of foreign language, it's not just the language we are talking about people's ways of living, the cultural exchange that it incorporates. So, without wasting much time, I would like to move ahead with the introduction of the guests of honor we have with us today. This will be a panel discussion, a very enlightening discourse on career pathways in foreign languages. And we are very honored to have distinguished panelists whose expertise in foreign languages and cultures is not just exemplary but also very instrumental in shaping career trajectories in this vibrant field. Joining us today are very two eminent academicians from Tezpur University, each a luminary in their respective domains. Firstly, we have Shri Rathijit Chakraborty. He is the assistant professor in Chinese language and literature. With profound knowledge and a deep understanding of Chinese language nuances and literary treasure, Sri Rathijit Chakraborty has been a guiding force in unveiling the richness of Chinese culture through language. Accompanying Sri Chakraborty is the esteemed Srimati Daveirou Lanamai. She is the assistant professor in Chinese language, literature and culture, folklore and folk literature, intercultural studies at Tezpur University. Her multidimensional expertise spanning language, literature, folklore, and intercultural studies has been pivotal in fostering a holistic understanding of the intricate tapestry of the Chinese civilization. So, throughout this session, our esteemed panelists will illuminate the myriad career perspectives within the realm of foreign languages. Welcome to Advancing Northeast. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us and for accepting our invitation in such a short span of time. And without wasting much time, we'll just head on with our discussion and session because I am very excited and I'm sure everybody is. So I'll start with ma'am. A little about maybe about the department. We'll start first a little about the department and your area of interest, and then we'll move ahead.
Okay, so let me briefly introduce myself first. I am Daveirou Lanamai, and I'm from the state of Manipur. And to talk about my journey with Chinese, I've been learning Chinese since 2009 in JNU. After completing my graduation and masters, I also did a one-year advanced course in China, in Beijing, in BLCU. Then after that, I came back and joined this university as a faculty. And our department, if we talk about our department, sir will have a better listing, but our department was as a separate department we established in 2019. So on more about our department, I would like sir to
sure, sir, I think before 2019 also there was some work done and everything.
Yes. Let me first introduce myself. I'm Rathijit Chakraborty, and I've been teaching Chinese now since quite a long time. Initially I started with Vishwabharati Shantiniketan. I did my first year over there, and then I moved to JNU in the second year. And after finishing my MA, I did my MPhil. In fact, I can take pride in saying that I'm the first student from the batch, MPhil batch. Before that, it was a pre-PhD program running on. And after completing my MPhil, so while I was doing my MPhil, I was also teaching Chinese. So I actually started teaching when I was a student. And then immediately after completing my MPhil, I got a part-time job in Delhi University, Center for East Asian Studies. At that time, it was Department of East Asian Studies. So we were kind of, South Asian languages enclave over there. So we had Chinese, Korean as well as Japanese. So I taught for 2 years over there as a research associate and then moved to Tezpur University. So when I came here, we had a couple of part-time courses going on, and we were actually a part of EFL at that time. It was the nomenclature was English and foreign languages. So we had three segments. We had English, we had linguistics, and we had foreign languages. And in 2005, officially we started with the full-time regular certificate course, that is a 1-year course. We still have that course running here. And we should also be very proud saying that the very first student from our department who learned Chinese is now a faculty in Sikkim University.
Okay.
And later on in 2019, we felt, and then Vice Chancellor also felt, that there should be a separate department of foreign languages. And finally, around July 2019, we were established. We were established as a department of foreign languages. So now we have Chinese, we have German, and we also have French courses running over here.
Okay, okay. So if I may ask that, what was the factor, like what struck you that you wanted to learn Chinese and then, you know, did it for your academics? You can start with sir. Yeah.
Mine was kind of accidental thing.
Okay.
I have a background of fine arts actually. So initially I went to Vishwabharati to learn fine arts, not to learn Chinese.
That is very interesting.
And along with fine arts, I also gave an exam for the entrance for foreign languages. And I was selected in Chinese, Department of Chinese. And initially I couldn't find any point of interest in learning Chinese since I was attending at that time, classes in fine arts department. So while I was attending class in the fine arts department as a casual student, I had made a friend with a Chinese student who was a student of fine arts also at that time. So along with him, we actually met our own Chinese teacher. I mean the native Chinese teacher who was sent on deputation. So he was a very good teacher, and he said that, what actually fascinates you? So I said, if you talk about Chinese, then the art of writing Chinese scripts, so Chinese calligraphy I was interested in. So he showed me different aspects of Chinese calligraphy, and I found it to be very, very unique. Because the Chinese people actually, they use a traditional brush for writing Chinese characters, the same brush they use for drawing. So calligraphy is part of drawing, you may say. After that I collected a few editions of handwritten Chinese newspaper, which was published at that time in Kolkata, Chinatown. So they were very elegant, and I started practicing. Without being conscious about that, I was learning side by side. So finally I fell in love with the language, and that is how I started my journey.
Okay, so that is, I think, very unique thing I've heard today, that it's also interconnected with art, then we can say.
Definitely, and if somebody was to motivate, it was the Chinese teacher, I should say. 80% credit goes to him.
Absolutely.
Because he actually diverted my interest, and he turned my interest into this language.
Okay, right, ma'am.
Mine is quite different from what sir had. So actually it was kind of in many ways, it was not a planned this thing in the beginning. So I was, after completing my 10+2, I was also thinking of doing something, taking up a new area, like which is something different from the conventional courses that people usually takes up. So one of my cousins, she was the first one who introduced me to this foreign languages. So she asked me to explore if I'm interested in something new. And frankly, those days, that was in 2009, and taking up foreign languages as one's major is not a very big thing, especially in this part of the region, and many people also discouraged the risk involved in that. So, but then I went ahead with it, and then what fascinated me to take Chinese and not other languages was, yes, it could be curiosity also, because since frankly, since high school we were taught of Xuan Zhang and all. I mean, how Buddhism went to China from India and the journey of all these monks.
Okay.
It really fascinated me during my history classes. And also, I should give credit to some of my high school teachers for introducing all these wonders of the world, like Great Wall of China and whatnot, like Terracotta Army and all. So those kind of things intrigued me to know more about the culture and the people also. And eventually, if we see, by then China is one of the fastest growing economy at that time, and in 2008 they were able to host this Summer Olympics in Beijing with huge success. So the vibe for learning Chinese has also gaining markets and popularity in India also. I think so. One way that also fascinated me, but then it was more of like a curiosity, and I was really jumping into something which is very new, and nobody was there to even guide me how to go ahead with the subject also. So I inquired about it in JNU and gave my entrance exam, and that's how I got in. But then the real interest started only after I started learning the language. So yes, the teachers, the teaching methods they have employed, the way they have helped us get interested into the language, I think those really motivated me to know more and learn more about China. And ultimately, I think the chance that I got to under this MHRD scholarship, Chinese government and MHRD scholarship then, so that gave me an opportunity to study in China for a year. So which really helped me to not only know the language better, but also to understand the culture and the society better. So I think these are some of the factors, and I think I feel that I have made the right choice of taking Chinese as my major.
So both Sarah and were you anticipating that you would be becoming a professor and teaching Chinese someday? Were you thinking of it as a career prospect also then when you were learning?
So definitely, I mean, it goes without saying that whenever you opt for any subject, you have the future prospects in mind. And particularly when I was in JNU, I think she will also agree with me. Job prospects are quite visible, clearly visible, because in Delhi, I mean, it's a very lucrative market, and particularly for us who had learnt a foreign language. So teachers used to say that you earn while you learn. That means when right from third year on, we started earning our pocket money. So, and we used to do a lot of freelancing, like interpretation, medical interpretation, insurance interpretation, then general interpretation, and then working part time with a company for a few days. They used to hire students from JNU, since teachers were not available all the time. Apart from that, we also used to do a lot of translations and attend global assemblies, work as translators over there. So when you stay at Delhi, it's a kind of privilege, you have a first-hand market over there. And teachers also used to encourage us because it actually used to wipe away the kind of hesitation. Usually the newcomers, they hesitate to talk with others in a foreign language. But when you were doing a job, you have that in mind, that I'm going to be paid at the end of the day, so I have to be good. So these were certain factors which actually encouraged us to learn the language more and to learn it more professionally. And when we were in MA, then it was a kind of crucial time when we had to decide what to do. And at times, like particularly after you become a graduate in Chinese, it is very tempting. Most of your classmates by that time have already started, like attending jobs, full-time or part-time jobs. So it's very difficult to pursue, academics at the time unless you have that kind of mindset, you have that percentage of tenacity within you. So initially, although if you ask me personally, I initially had planned to go into private sector, but later on I do not know, it may be because of the genes, because most of my family members, they are teachers.
Okay.
So I finally opted for teaching. And I found it to be very interesting. Actually, I told you just a while ago that since I was teaching in JNU when I was doing my MPhil, so I had by that time established a very good rapport with my students. So I found it very, very, very satisfying, I should say.
Satisfying.
Yeah.
So your university also, since both are from JNU, it had a huge part in the career, how it shaped you and everything, right? Because the opportunities that it provided, it definitely gave you an exposure.
Yes.
I think not every university has that, but I think Tezpur is one that is also doing that.
Definitely.
Yes. So that makes the career opportunities pretty visible, because in general, if somebody wants to learn a different language, they are not really sure that what will be they doing, will they be able to opt it professionally?
Yes.
So that guidance, yes.
One thing I can say here is that I haven't noticed anybody who has learned Chinese at least more or less well sitting idle. This much I can say.
Yes, this will be a great boost for our enthusiasts who want to pursue this subject, I think. And so, sir or ma'am, anybody can start, like, about the popularity when you were, back then also and now. What do you, what difference do you see, like, from your experiences?
So, yes, if we talk about the popularity, it keeps, I wouldn't say that it goes in one trend. It keeps fluctuating with, there are so many other many factors that affects the trend of the popularity also. Because if we look at India and China, this trend of learning also usually get affected by the bilateral relations. But when we look at the ground reality, I should say that even if there are so many other factors, learning the language has not gone down so far. I mean, because maybe the interest could be different from time to time. Like say prior to COVID, the interest could be more into tourism and other hospitality sector. The people who are motivated to learn language wants to go into such sectors. So, but the trend has shifted elsewhere now, and more people who are learning Chinese now wants to be more study more in-depth knowledge or gain in-depth knowledge about China, and also to understand more about the Chinese people and the culture, because it is not just about the hospitality or management sectors that we are interested in. Now many are looking into think tanks, government sectors. If you see, even last year, if the terrestrial army have even recruited Chinese speakers for translators in the Indian defense sector. And also we can see that even Home Ministry and External Affairs, they have different kinds of prospects for foreign languages, especially Chinese also. So I think the trend is maybe it keeps the demand could be different. And even now the better advantage is that Taiwanese companies are slowly expanding in China, in India also. So that opens two double opportunities again, not only from the mainland but also from Taiwan as well. So I think the trend is not going down when we focus on Chinese language. Yes, I think Sir can also supplement some points to that.
About global popularity and also about the trend amongst the youths.
Yeah, I should say that the Chinese themselves, they have contributed to this popularity, because they migrated everywhere. And since Chinese is such a language that, it's so flexible, it's so rich, that once you are equipped with that language, you usually do not need other languages to supplement. This much I can say. And so wherever the Chinese went, along with them went their culture, their language, and other aspects. And I also think that students nowadays are quite aware of their how to plan their career. And as far as China is concerned, since it is our neighboring country, and then we have immediate diplomatic implications, economic implications with China. So it becomes imminent to learn Chinese. Like our government also encourages learning foreign languages, including Chinese, so that we can develop some skills to attend to the global market, particularly with the rise of China as the second powerful economy. I mean, it's going to be even crucial, and I think there will be more and more demand for Chinese learners in the future.
Right. That is a very beautiful thing. Like, it's only progressing day after day, and the people are getting more and more interested, right? So, we would like to know a little about any facts you would like to share, any interesting thing about the language that people should know.
Okay, so one thing I can share with is when we talk of Chinese language, so we have been mentioning Chinese language, but then there are different variants of Chinese language that are spoken in China also. So the one that we are teaching or learning is it's officially called or generally called as Mandarin Chinese. Right?
Okay.
So it's so they have Cantonese, they have other regional dialects also. But so I'm just looking into the word Mandarin.
Okay.
So where do you think this word came from?
Mandarin.
Any idea? So this Mandarin actually it came from a Sanskrit word mantri. So it is very interesting. Actually, it was an exonym used by the Portuguese merchants who started their trades with the Ming Dynasty, which was in 14th, 15th century China. So and they have context with Malaysia also, the Malays. So they use this the Malaysians. They use this mantri, so which came from mantri, yes,
Hindi word,
yes,
mantri.
the Sanskrit word which is for minister or counselor. So what the Portuguese, they used it from them. They learned it from the Malays first, and then they started calling the Ming officials.
Okay.
So the as mantris, or so in Portuguese it is called Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Yes, so eventually it turned into Mandarin. So now Mandarin Chinese, when we say Mandarin Chinese, it was in China. You will be surprised to know that the language used by the commoners and the officials are usually very different. So the language used by those officials are known as Mandarin language. So that's how it this thing. So this is one fun fact I would like to share with, because when we see India and China, we tend to ignore so many nuances that we share. So this is one.
There is so much
yes,
common
similarities
ground,
and
yes.
commons and borrowed and taken from each other's culture. So this mantri, so it's like the language of the used by the mantris or the officials. Now, interestingly, at present, the Chinese government calls this language as Putonghua. Yes, so Putonghua, it means the common man's language. So eventually the official language turned into common speech or the common man's language. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is one fun fact I would share.
Yes, that was very interesting. I learned a new fact today. Moving on to sir.
There are n number of fun facts as far as Chinese language is concerned. Like, language is not static; it keeps on traveling. So when the Chinese came here first, so initially we used to produce like jaggeries, the liquid gold.
Yes.
So the Chinese took this thing and then they went back, refined it into small white cubicles, translucent cubicles, sweet. And then when it came back to India, it was termed as chini because it came from China. And the same story goes like throughout the northern belt. You see, actually what happened is that the Silk Route was connected with northern part of India and also Central Asia. So the merchants used to trade silk from China, and then they used to take other things from India. So from China, tea was actually, if you call within inverted comma, invented in China as initially as a medicine and then finally as a beverage. So when it came to northern India, now in northern China it's called cha. So throughout northern belt you will find terms like chai, sa, cha, this kind of derivatives.
Okay.
But in southern India, in South Indian languages, it's called Tela. Tela actually means tea leaves. Now, what happened is that the Dutch people used to trade tea through water route from South China to India as well as European countries. So, in Cantonese, this cha is termed as te. So that is how it came to be known as Tela in southern India, because it was connected via water route. And finally, when it went to Europe, it first went to France. And in French, it's called te, the same thing. And in English now, you have the hard consonant words, like it became te, became tea.
Okay, so I think that is the beauty of language, that it connects. It's a global connect. It's a medium of global connect, right? So wonderful fact, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. So if we shift to a little towards the career part of the language that it offers. So what do you think are the key traits and skills that are required?
It cannot come into one. There is no one path or one route for what kind of skills or traits are required to learn a foreign language. It is need based and as well as interest. So because learning language, it is 50-50. If the learner is not interested, however smart or whatever kind of facilities or opportunities you have, if you are not interested in the language, it becomes difficult. So because if we see from our teaching experiences also, we have also taught variety of students coming from different kinds of backgrounds. So we do not want to say that, okay, so these are the kind of qualification we need. But yes, to some extent, following with the UGC rules and regulations for admitting to higher studies, we have 10+2 as the requirement for entry level, and with a working level of English language. Why I'm saying English is it could be controversial, but then because the textbooks that we use or the materials that we have access to, especially Chinese language, which might not be applicable for other languages, but with Chinese language, these are all bilingual. Okay. And whatever textbook comes from China also has this English and Chinese brief explanation or the meanings of the words given in English. So at least we need to have that basic knowledge of workable knowledge, which I think by class 8 or 10, that kind of English level is more than enough. So these are some of the requirements that we need. Otherwise, through our experience, Sarah also can supplement, because we have seen how our students improvise or tend to develop their language skills, and this mostly comes from their own interest. Yes, because whatever help we can give it to them, we give, but then if it has to be reciprocated from their side.
Yes. So the main part is the interest and the curiosity to learn the language and know,
and also the necessity and the need, because if someone really thinks that, okay, I cannot do away with this language, then eventually you start giving more importance and then spending more time to learn the language. So I think that's true for any language. Yeah. For that matter, like say for example, where I started speaking Hindi only after going to Delhi, because there was no other option for me. Yes. So that kind of requirement makes us learn the language also faster. So if you are into that kind of environment, maybe that is the reason why many says that if you want to know the language, you have to go to the place where the language is spoken. So get involved with the natives. The reason is, I think, it's because you do not have other language to communicate with them. Yes. So I think that is one necessary requirement, if we should say. Yeah. So Sir can also supplement to that.
Yeah, I would list out some points. Like these are for if you want to learn any foreign language, first of all you need to be persistent and patient. Okay. So patience and persistence, this is one factor. Second factor is that you need to be also open-minded. Why I say so? Because you have to embrace the language, embrace the culture. You have to be in love with that country, its language, its culture. If you do not understand the culture, there's no point learning the language, because you won't be able to understand the language. You may be able to learn it, but you might not be able to understand it. And then cultural awareness. So once you embrace the culture, you should be aware of that culture, because when, as she said, that when you go to the native country, you have to be, you have to go along with their customs. You have to go along with their etiquettes. For that, you need to know about the cultural background. So this is one thing for general learning any foreign language. Now, apart from that, the core skills that one needs to acquire is number one, listening and speaking skills. Listening is very, very important. Since in our case, students entirely start from the scratch. Chinese is a non-alphabetic language. There are no alphabets in Chinese, and the language is also tonal. Like fixed tones are there. We also speak in tones, but our tones are not fixed, but they are fixed. So to digest these things, it takes a couple of months. So that is why you need patience, you need persistence, you need the tenacity, and then later on, gradually you also need to develop reading and writing skills.
Yes.
These are the basics.
So there's this very thing that is, we observe nowadays.
Yeah.
I think from before also, that young people are, they watch this series and everything, especially Chinese and Korean ones, and then they are very, inclined towards learning and understanding the language. So do you think that that is also like a very, alternate or any easy way of adapting? Or because my sister also is like, if I cannot differentiate between the Korean tone and the Chinese tone, then she's like, this is the Chinese tone, this is that tone. About what sir also said, that they have a fixed tone. So about that, what do you think? Any other way to learn it? If not,
I can start.
That might be one possible channel, but that is not quite dependable channel. Like as long as it is on, your interest is on. When it goes off, then God knows what happens.
So that could be just like a hobby or
yeah, that could be like a side hobby.
Hobby.
Yes.
I think those can really supplement you when you are really into the language. It can be a supplementary source to learn the language. Why? Because it gives you a visual representation of how the language is used in that culture. Because when we see TV series or movies, it is also the reflection of that culture and the society. So there are so many things that we get to learn also, but using that as a primary source will not be possible. But yes, it can really supplement in learning the language. Number one, you will be exposed to the different style of speakers using the language, which can ultimately enhance your listening ability, which is one very important skill that requirement that we need in learning a language. So the other thing, you get lots of exposure about the culture, about the society also. So at a supplementary level, it can be used, but not as a primary source of learning the language.
Interestingly, a few of our students actually came to learn Chinese after they started, watching a Korean drama, K-drama,
and C-dramas recently, which is a very recent factor after K-dramas.
C-dramas are on the wave now.
So that's one part of the story.
Yes. So about gaining a working knowledge of the language, like sir said or ma'am said, that you have to be in that place and like that, but that is not very possible also for everybody because financial constraints and everything. So apart from that, is there any other way, if not the formal education also, that they can learn any apps but I don't think that also are very lasting.
So what do you want to say?
First of all, if one really is serious about learning a foreign language, then one has to focus on the basics, like pronunciation. As far as Chinese is concerned, like it's a pronunciation, then intonations. Nowadays, you have a number of like video series available on YouTube where you can learn language. But thing is that it has to be regular. To regularize the thing, that you need to be a little bit self-motivated also. You have to schedule your time accordingly. and then you also need a partner to practice the conversations.
Okay.
So that's very, very important, because once upon a time when I was learning a little bit of Japanese, so I tried to invoke interest in one of my friends that please come so that I can at least talk with you in Japanese. So that is one important factor. Another other factors are there, like online resources are there, as you said. Like online, there are a number of, you can join a blog, you can join vlogs, and then you can also have apps.
Yeah, like Duolingo is also one.
Duolingo, then Memrise is there, then Happy Chinese is there, Hello Chinese is there. So these kind of apps are also there, but everything depends on how you channelize yourself.
Yes.
So it's always better that there is a guide, there is somebody to guide you, because then you can learn it effectively.
Right.
You can anyway learn it as you wish, but then with a guide you can learn it effectively.
Yes. So it depends on how good you want to be at that language.
True.
And
Yes.
To add on, to what sir have said, I think some basic level of this thing guidance, at least at the basic level, is very needed. At least to know the structure, to know the pattern of the language, on how to even learn the language. Because if we especially talk of Chinese, it is very different from the kind of languages that we speak in India. So fortunately for me, I should say that Chinese being a tonal language was a huge advantage for me in learning the language, because my mother tongue itself is a tonal language. So that was one thing I never faced as come across as a problem, which many of us Indians face this issue, because most of the Indian languages are not tonal languages. So that was a huge advantage for me. But for someone who never has spoken a tonal language, to learn Chinese through this other platforms can be very challenging in many ways. So because you really need to grasp the knowledge of how tones can literally change everything in the language. So the apps that we have mentioned, or even podcasts, there are lots of podcasts these days, like for in the Spotify and YouTube, number of podcasts which are structured for different levels. Like for example, in Chinese, the qualifying exams for Chinese proficiency test, which is called HSK exam, and the podcasts are also designed by level wise. So which can be very helpful for the students, the learners, because it was designed in level wise, like level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, which is the highest level.
So it can be a learning guide.
It can be a guide, but I think one really needs a formal kind of introduction to the language.
You need to identify at which level you are in.
Yes.
That's the more important, because as I said that in Chinese, like unlike other European languages, you already know the Roman alphabets, but in Chinese everything is new, including some pronunciation, I should say, which we are not habituated with. So for pronunciations, etc., you need a guide.
Right. Yes. So that is about how to take it up alternately, apart from formal. But if we come to formal education now, is it stream agnostic? Like, do you need to come from a particular stream or background? And you said 10 plus 2 is enough. So after that directly, can you just break down the process a bit?
There is no specific stream for someone to come after 10 plus 2. You can be from various backgrounds. We follow the UGC guideline, so it's 10 plus 2, that is the minimum requirement, with minimum of 45% percentage in your 10 plus 2 score. I think, sir, that is the minimum requirement that we have.
So far, we have set that as a kind of cut-off percentage.
Okay, so after that they can directly join.
Can I add the one point? Yeah. Actually, the thing is that people say that students with a background of humanities are preferred to join the language, but I don't think it's open, because I myself is from science background, and moreover, there is actually age is not also a bar, for learning a foreign language, because when I was a student with my contemporary batch in Spanish department, I saw father and son from the same batch. Both of them were learning Spanish. So it all depends on your intention, your flair for learning any foreign language. and also your continuity, persistence, as I said, that is very, very important.
So you cannot just stop and then take it up after a long time.
Yes,
so.
like people actually hesitate to talk, people hesitate that they will make mistakes. So that should not be kept in one's mind. Yeah.
Okay, so ma'am mentioned about entrance examination. So can you tell us a little about that? That what kind of
Earlier, yes, if we look into our university system, earlier, yes, it was taken care by the individual university, but since we have introduced CUET, we have been taking this entrance for the students through this CUET exam. Yes.
Okay. So what is the pattern and everything?
It depends on the NTA,
Okay.
National Testing Agency. That is the this thing, but the requirement that we have. So working knowledge on English, that's some criteria that we set up for the students, and also on general GS.
GS, okay.
Yes.
Because
so those are the two distinct.
Yes. So because I'm also curious about this, that other entrance examinations is different,
Yes.
because you can grab that knowledge,
Yes.
but language is not something that you can prepare before learning it. So
True.
to qualify that entrance examination, so that is kind of challenging, right? So general knowledge.
Yes, GS that is under CUET already. So and some components from English language. So those are the two requirements if someone is giving CUET exam for foreign languages.
So
I think that is applicable for other universities
Yes,
as well.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
it's not only for Tezpur University,
Yeah,
but
everywhere.
yes,
everywhere
for
for the
languages.
foreign
Yes.
language entry level.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So any scholarships or fellowship opportunities that the students should know,
In fact, yes, there are lots. So to
You
begin,
also-
yes,
you
I was
also-
part of. Now it is changed into Ministry of Education. But earlier, when I got the scholarship, it was under the MHRD this thing. Scholarship. So it was a combined MHRD and Chinese government scholarship. So those scholarships are still existing, but now we can also focus on the Taiwanese government scholarships. There are different types of scholarship. What one has to do is you need to explore yourself. Most of the scholarships will come around January, February. So the criteria, the kind of scholarship they offer are different. So you have to explore what is it that you are really looking
wise
into.
it's different.
No, for the government scholarships, they have the government sets the terms and conditions.
Okay.
Like in for the Taiwanese government, they have mainly two scholarships, which is one comes directly under the Ministry of Education, and one is combination with Ministry of Education, and it's called Huayu Enrichment Scholarships. So these are two major scholarships that you find in Taiwan, and we have lots of other scholarships being provided by the individual universities as well. So for those, one have to explore themselves. Yes. So otherwise, if we look into higher education scholarships, like for example, for research areas in research, you will have like ICS, Institute of Chinese Studies in Delhi has this thing collaboration with Harvard University and also some universities in China. So and also in Taiwan. So those kind of scholarships also one can explore. So it is not necessarily only with the Chinese government or
I think Commonwealth
Club. Yes.
Okay.
So there is one more which is called Swartzman
Yeah,
Scholarship.
Swartzman.
Yes.
Okay.
So these are some scholarships that students can explore if one is
Fulbright
interested.
is also there.
Yes. And the other thing is, it is not only for the language. Especially when we talk about the Chinese government scholarship or Taiwanese government scholarship, it is not only for learning Chinese language.
Okay.
So you have for because if you see many of the Indian engineering students, technical students, they get this scholarship to Taiwan. So you can even explore for other subjects also. Of course, if you have to go to those countries, you have to invest. Yes, invest at least 6 months or a year to learn the language.
Okay.
So that is included in their scholarship.
So what national and international opportunities are available?
Yes.
Okay. So, sir, would you like to add?
Yeah, I would just
Yes.
the information. Her part was quite informative. I would just like to add this factor that there have been quite a number of students from Tezpur University itself who had done part-time in Chinese and got the advantage of, like availing the scholarships.
Okay.
Like one, I can recall that one or two from IT background, with IT background, one went to China, another went to Korea. This person is already settled in Korea now. He's doing some kind of research. He's into some kind of job. So these are a few of our success stories.
Yes, sir. So about the top colleges, I know it's a very basic question and everything is available online, but still to streamline, sir, if you would like to mention any.
Yes, I think this is already known to everyone that we have quite actually for in more than 40 institutions Chinese is being taught. But the major institutes where you have the integrated course, like 5-year integrated course plus PhD, etc. We have JNU, Jawaharlal University in Delhi, then Delhi University. We have Vishwabhati, Shantiniketan, then BHU. They have also started, and Central University of Jharkhand, Central University of Gujarat, Sikkim University. They have also started with various courses.
So in Northeast also we have more than one.
Yes, and just to mention here that from next session we're going to start with our BA first year of 4-year program.
That is a very great news actually for these students.
To cater to the, particularly to cater to the students from in the Northeast.
In the Northeast, Okay.
Yes,
So the options
when Sir mentioned about the Northeast, I think we can call ourselves the first university. Who is introducing these undergraduate courses, because Sikkim and Manipur University also runs this Chinese courses, but I think
we started first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because we started Sikkim. Actually, they started in 2008 or 9. So we started in 2005 or 6.
Okay. So Tezpur is the first.
Tezpur might be the pioneer.
Yeah, and also those universities are doing that diploma kind of courses. I feel they are not full-fledged courses yet.
Some are running full-fledged and some diploma.
Some diploma.
Like for example, in Manipur University, they are running certificate courses, so which is of 1 year, like the one existing that we have here also. So it's they run similarly.
Okay, and they have different entry procedures, right?
Yes.
They have different examinations or they have their own criteria.
They might be having their own criteria, but our uniqueness is that apart from civilians, we also train up people from the defense
Sector, yes, please,
background.
if you could speak a little on that.
We started with our first MOU with the Indian Army in 2009, and then in 2013 we again signed another MOU with the ITBPF, and we still have the Army students and the ITBPF students with us, and we also groomed up over 100 students from the wireless unit. We had people from intelligence. We ran a short-term refresher course, and till recently we have been running customized courses for the defense people. And we have also furnished the refresher course which the ITBPF they conduct in Missouri, their training school. Because after they pass out from here, they go there and they attend the refresher course for a year, and after that they are posted along the border. And then they serve the nation.
So that is also a very new thing that Tezpur University.
There's not only new thing, we also take pride in directly serving the country through our students.
That is what I was going to say. That it's like serving the country because we are teaching our people there. So wonderful steps. Sir, would you like to suggest any books or any websites that you think would be very helpful for somebody who wants to learn the language?
There are, as far as websites are concerned, you see, the main difficulty is to find out which website is authentic and which one is not. And if I quote the name of any website, it would not be fair, because it depends on your need. Because language learning is completely need based. So if I want to learn, say for 6 months, I would need a different kind of setup. If I want to learn for a couple of years, then I will need a broader setup. So, not any particular website, but I should say there are a number of apps like Playco, etc. Like earlier, I remember we had to manually search, look for words in the dictionary. So now students just need to type out and then they can find out with sentences and phrases as examples.
So, sir, do you also publish papers? Like, published papers could also be a good source of media, a resource, right, for students who want to, study. And so, are there any those kind of,
In India, I think few Chinese publications, right? So
Yeah.
because most of the research are carried out in English.
Okay.
Yes, so we hardly have any Chinese language publications. In
on Chinese language, but in
On
English.
Chinese language, but in
Yes,
English.
yes. Okay.
It might be in other language, other Indian languages also, but in Chinese you will find very few readers
Okay.
because you need the reader to be Chinese literate.
Chinese literature. Yes, that comes as a challenge.
Yes,
also.
and when we talk about Chinese literate also, to reach that level
Yeah.
is
Yes.
you cannot just start reading Chinese newspaper for that
Yeah.
matter. To start with newspaper,
Yeah.
just learning Chinese for a year or so, because the language there is again very different.
Yeah.
So you need to reach certain level to be able to get access to those written materials in Chinese.
So how long do you think, ma'am, that one takes to learn the language? Like the basic, how long your courses, like your students, do you see them after they pass out that they're properly?
See, I can tell you one example that when I was a student, I was doing a few private tuition I was taking, and then among my students, I found one 9-year-old girl to be able to take up Chinese within 3 months.
Oh.
So it all depends on the individual, how that individual is going to deal with the language. It's not about what you learn, it's about how you learn. Otherwise, I had been teaching executives also, but they were very slow learners. But I found this girl to be very quick.
Very good, right. So also the defense people that you teach, and also you said intelligence also, from intelligence also. So
Yes.
that is like they are already so well settled and they know so much, and then they come to learn the language. So how is that experience and everything?
It depends on the individual. Mainly, it depends on the individual. I don't think your whatever position you have matters when you learn a language. Yes, because like sir have said, a child is quicker in learning a language, and because it depends on what she's interested in and how she's learning. The other thing, yes, when we talk about professional courses, yes, we need to know that the curriculum that we have are designed for adults. Because the minimum requirement that we set is 10+2, that we have to know, because if we look at the syllabus for different age groups, for children the syllabus are completely different from the kind of syllabus that we use. So but then when we look into the way that an individual grasps the language, it solely depends on the individual, on how he or she learns the language, and also how well they try to use the instructions that are given in the say for example in the classroom. So I don't think a position, age, nothing matters in how well you grasp the language. It all depends on your interests, on, like Sarah has been talking about, how persistent, patient you need to be. I think those are some qualities that you really need to build. Even if it is not there in you, you have to cultivate them, I guess, if you are interested in the language.
And having said that, I should also mention here that we have been constantly upgrading our syllabus. And like our students have benefited to such an extent that when they go to Delhi or other places, they say that, sir, we are much more advanced than the places here. So I think if you are talking about formally training up students, then first of all the syllabus needs to be updated, and it's also about the choice of textbooks. Because in many places, in India particularly, they follow the redundant textbooks where the students hardly have any scope of finding interest. So you cannot blame totally the students. Like there might be some good students, but when they actually come, and then they deal with the syllabus, they find it slightly boring. So you have to make it make the syllabus interesting, particularly with the NEP now. Since the syllabus, the classroom, it has to be student centric. So the focus is entirely on the students.
On the students. So moving on about the stringent roles, about the opportunities, the career opportunities in this field. What are the job roles? If particularly I may ask that, what are the currently job roles that are available and are very popular that could benefit the students? So can you highlight some?
Yes, there are. It depends on the kind of job or career path that one chooses. And like Sarah was talking about how tempting it was. I mean, when we were in our doing our undergraduations and post-graduation courses, it was really tempting, to be very frank. But yes, we chose our particular stream or this thing, career path. That is a different story. But it depends on what kind of this thing. Sector that you are looking into. Like for example, if you are into this thing, business or MNCs, there are like even specialized courses for such kind of this thing, like business Chinese, which can be slightly different from the way the classroom Chinese is being taught. Or for example, if you are looking into translation sector, if you are going for think tanks, so the requirements can be very different, and the kind of level needed, required for the students are also very different. So yes, it differs from the choices that you have. Yes. So,
but then translator, like you said, then also professor. So these are some of the
not only this, but there are lots of multinational corporations which offers very good this thing opportunities. Like Sarah has also mentioned a lot, like how even for short-term basis, part-times, and also after you, like say for example, most of the Chinese, as we are talking about Chinese language, I'm focusing on Chinese language. They go into this thing, private firms and companies after their graduation, because there are numerous opportunities there, like aviation industry, hospitality, this thing, and multinational corporation. And with the business between India and China, like it has not gone down. I mean, it might looks like the situation is not very favorable, but I think
there
we
are
see the ground reality when we talk about the economic relationship that we share with China and also with Taiwan. So it is on a very positive side, which is giving numerous job opportunities. And most of these companies, they require at least minimum of BA level in Chinese language. So at least you have to complete third year, 3 years of Chinese language, or equivalent to that in HSK exam, which is the Chinese proficiency test. You'll have to at least cross level 4. Yes, so those are some of the minimum requirements that you need to have if you are really looking into job sectors.
So for that also you need that formal education to clear that level 4 thing.
Yes, I think through formal education only that you will be able
that
to sing. There are some private institutes, not like advertising them, but then I would use one name, which is Meiyu based in Delhi. So they have been catering the needs of such like business Chinese, which people comes to learn for short-term basis, or some like HSK tests or TOEFL, which is conducted. HSK actually is conducted by the mainland China, which comes under Hanpan, and TOEFL it is conducted by the Taiwanese government. So these are two tests which can the students can take to test their proficiency level in Chinese, besides the university degrees that we give in our universities. Yes.
Okay. Sir, would you like to?
Yeah, by the way, just to add one point here, like when you were mentioning about HSK, since I was talking about our syllabus, so we have diversified our syllabus to such an extent that we not only follow the syllabus for the regular certificate course, we will be learning gradually across 2 semesters, but for short-term courses we have been preparing them for the HSK, like Chinese language proficiency test, and many of our students have appeared in the HSK 1 first level, and their score was on an average 97%. So a few of them also got 100 out of 100. And regarding the job roles that you were asking, so there are five distinct sectors where now as my colleague has already elaborated on the changing the paradigm shift in the job market sector. So here we have number one is international business and trade, and then number two is diplomacy and international relations.
Okay.
Third is tourism and hospitality. Four is education and academia, and the fifth one is technology and IT. So all
This is
these
a
five,
very important part that you
Yeah.
have highlighted.
Yeah.
So yes.
these five sectors are very very important, and you have huge job opportunities here, because see now, although now different institutes have cropped up, catering to students who wish to learn Chinese. But over the years, we had very few institutions, and the output was low. So naturally, the demand was high.
Hi. Right.
Yeah. So Chinese job market will always have high demand.
Yes. So the market is there. Just
Yeah, the
are
market is very much
yes.
there. Only the thing is that you need to be aware,
Aware.
and you have to plan your career accordingly.
Right. So to navigate that path, just that is
Yes.
very important.
Yes.
Initial.
Yes. Proper counseling,
Yes.
future planning, and then working out your strategy, and then finally, get into the job market.
Okay. So sir, since you're already speaking of this market thing,
Yeah.
so if we speak of working abroad,
Yes.
yes. So what do you think? What are the possibilities there? And in comparison to that, working here in India, and also if in Northeast we say, you just
See,
shed some light on
just
that.
a couple of factors which actually will decide how you can, survive abroad. First of all, is cultural adaptation. This is very very important, because many from our country and maybe from other countries who went to China or any other country, they couldn't continue because they didn't have this adaptive strategy as far as culture is concerned. So adapting to the local culture is very very important. Second is you have to have that kind of what should I say, that USP, I should say, that plus point to fight with that the local your competitive strategies should be there.
Yes.
So this is also very very important to be in the job market, and your communication, enhanced communication, because many students as well as workers who go abroad, they actually they roam around in groups. They hardly find any time or opportunity to interact with the native people.
Native people.
So when they come back, their language is not enriched or enhanced. So that is also very. These three, I think, these three are the primary factors. One is this communication, another is cultural adaptation, and another is this competitive strategy.
Okay. Yes, that is a lot of information, sir. Thank you so much. Also, sir, regarding that, you said about working abroad, working in India and in Northeast also. If that contrast, if you could draw a little.
Would you like to add?
I think it is similar if we talk about foreign languages, like Sir has mentioned, because even if you're working in India, like say for example, if you're looking into international trade and international relations sectors, you will still be dealing with the native speakers. So at least you need to know their mannerism. You need to know how they carry out communication. All these things are required. But yes, when we talk of working abroad and all, we also have lots of success stories from our friend circles who have, like say for example, I have one friend who is running an Indian restaurant in China, so running very successfully. So, and he was he started this without that thing in the first place. He was learning Chinese. So after learning Chinese, after going to China and seeing the opportunity there, so we should be. So like Sir said, if you are stuck with your own group of people without going out, without learning about the culture, learning about the people, you will not see that opportunity. So you have to have that open mind to check out for opportunities and try to grab that. So I think there are success stories like that. There are numerous success stories like settling down there or running their own business, and also finding some good opportunities there. Yes. So it depends on the individual, and also to have that open mind to learn, to settle, and to
adapt.
Yes, to adapt in that new environment.
Okay,
yes.
And also that contrast between working there and in India.
Yes.
So in India, basically, we have two sectors like the state level sectors and the central level sectors. So state level sectors, one can engage in trade, commerce, etc. And the central one can be involved in diplomatic affairs, international exchanges, etc.
Okay. Yes. So we can only be positive that there are a lot of...
We actually have every point to be positive.
Positive, right. Okay. Wonderful. So since you said that your friend started a business there, so any business or entrepreneurial, side of learning this foreign language, especially Chinese, since we are speaking of Chinese. So
I think that depends on
yes.
on the individual who is learning the language, because not everybody has that entrepreneurial skill in them, right? And maybe their orientation could be very different. So it really depends on the individual. Language, yes, it helps a lot because it is the bridge that builds the gap between you and the target group. So I think that really helps this thing, but then you still have to have that kind of mindset. Yes, it is not that I've started learning a language, I can set up a business. I think that is not possible.
You should know how to align your interest with your profession and passion.
So that is why I think with our syllabus also, when we talk about NEP and this SEC, so it really goes hand in hand with that. Even if you are from a very different background or different subject or major, this can help your enhance your skills by knowing additional foreign language, which is not just learning how to speak hi or hello, but then getting exposure to people's culture, way of life, and society also. So I think that is a huge plus point.
Yes, that understanding basically, so that you can bridge the gap and everything.
And that expands your career options and choices also.
Right. So sir, about like you have already said, you have customized courses also, and you also train them for that test that you mentioned. So besides that, any upskilling plans, factor also that you have added? Just a little about the syllabus.
Since we are comparatively a new department, we have many things in mind, but the resources also need to be available. But we have our vision and mission clearly, displayed on our web page. So basically, we will be catering to short-term courses that catering to companies, if they are really interested in, if they have something in their mind, then we are ready to. I mean, we are quite open for that. And we also want to be, a department which is relevant to the Northeast, like research studies, which can link Northeast to Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries, Far East Asian countries maybe in the future. So we have a lot of plans actually. It all depends on the client also. Like if the client is really interested, like the Army and the ITBP, when they came to us, then we designed the course accordingly. And even with wireless unit people and also other people who came from intelligence and other organizations, we prepared like short-term upskill program.
Okay. So yes, so it has been so wonderful to listen from you both, and I am getting a knack to learn Chinese now. So I hope everybody watching us will be motivated, and so I think we have covered everything basically. So any advice that you would like to give to our, basically the youths of Northeast, they are our target audience. So anything?
I should say that, let me repeat again, that don't be afraid of making mistakes, because only through mistakes you learn things. So many people say that, that language I might not be able to learn. Don't think that way. Once you are involved, then you get to know. And actually learning a language, opens up new vistas. You get to know different people, across the world. Across the world, you get to know about the cultural traits, and then you become a part of that cultural exchange program, and then who knows, like you might be representing one day them also.
Yes.
So I mean, since there are wide opportunities, I should say that if you are really interested in learning a language, and learning a language is not only just simply for the sake of learning, but it's also stress buster.
Yes.
So if you really want to have fun, please learn a language and keep on learning a language. Actually, what we find is that, over the years, that when you learn a foreign language, you enrich your mother tongue also,
Okay.
along with other languages like English as a working language. So the thing that I'm being able to communicate with you in English
Yes.
is also a contribution from the foreign language part.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, whatever foreign language you are learning, you are a translator or interpreter.
Mhm.
So there's always benefits, no harms in learning a foreign
Yes,
language.
I think we can take this key point that you are a translator or an interpreter. Wonderful. So, ma'am.
Yes, when Sir has nicely put it for us, like to become the language ambassador for two cultures, different cultures. But when it comes to Chinese, one of the thing that comes to people's mind is Chinese is one of the most difficult language to learn. That is something that always sticks to a person when he or she starts learning Chinese, and that fear can really hamper your learning process also.
Okay.
It can work two ways. One is you challenge yourself to be able to learn one of the most difficult languages in the world, and the other is because of that fear. Sometimes it really affects the way you learn the language also. But the other thing is, especially for the Northeasterns, what I would like to say is, because I myself belong to the state of Manipur and I have experienced this myself, I would like to share that don't be scared of venturing out for new things.
Right.
Because I feel that when I started learning Chinese, it was something which is very new. People were asking me, why Chinese? What are you going to do with Chinese? So that were some of the questions. But I was very grateful. My parents and my family were very supportive in what I have chosen. So there are many. It's not only foreign languages, I should say, when it comes to career paths. We do not just have to stick to conventional careers and other sectors which everybody is into. So, and I think foreign language is also one such career options that can open many ways, because you can use it as your basic major course like we are doing, or it can really supplement in your other major courses that you are doing also. Like, say for example, if you are into engineering, language can always help you. I mean, having a good knowledge of another foreign language can always supplement in your field of studies also. So for Northeast, I should say, like, don't be scared. Go out, and then if you like it, you go for it. And I think there's nothing as such that. And frankly, I should say, for Northeast, we have a flair for learning foreign languages comparatively, because I should say this is with experiences with me as a student, and also after teaching a language to different background, people coming from different background, different places, we have that flair. And especially with Chinese, since it is very close to many of the Northeastern languages, I'm sure you will enjoy and learn and find lots of similarities. Like, for example, I was learning Chinese, and then I start, like Sarah was also talking about how it can improve your even mother tongue also. And I've seen like so many cultural similarities between Chinese language and my culture also. Like the way from the mannerism of how we even go for greetings. So which can be very different from how West go for it, and how we in the East do greetings, and so how we see similarities and differences also. So I would say go for it, and yes, take this opportunity.
Take that leap of faith, right? Wonderful, wonderful words of wisdom shared by you both. I think linking the language with art and with spiritualism also, like with folk and traditions and culture, everything. So language can take you to so many places. So lastly, sir, what do you think about our initiative Advancing Northeast?
I think it's a great initiative because we always look forward to opportunities to make people aware of learning foreign language. as my colleague said, that don't be scared of learning foreign language. I think, difficult or easy, these are very relative terms. As I tell my students that when you first learn to tie shoe knot, it's not very easy thing for you, right, as a child. Then how come you now, without, even if you are blindfold, you can do that. Just only through constant practice that you can. So, whatever we want to say, whatever we teach here, and however the environment is here, this should be known to the people, because we are here to serve the people.
Right.
So if they are aware about that, we teach Chinese language here, and Chinese language is being offered to the civilians along with other foreign languages of our department. If people benefit out of this thing, what better thing there can be?
Right. Ma'am, would you like to?
True, sir has, I think, put it very nicely, and I think this is one kind of opportunity that we have been waiting for also. And the initiative that you have taken, it really benefits us also in sharing our thoughts to the greater people out there who are even interested about, or even if they have some interest, they are due to lack of awareness.
Yes.
So we cannot reach out to the greater number of people also, and they do not know how to approach also. So I think this is one of the best initiatives that I should say you have taken to share about the distinct career paths, and also how to move forward or go ahead with this foreign language courses in future. So I think this is very good initiative, and we hope that such initiatives and such collaborations also continues in the future also to, yes, which can cater for the need of the entire northeastern region also.
Yes. So thank you so much,
you.
ma'am. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I had a very wonderful time, and I learned a lot because I did not know so many things. And so the students and people who are watching us, do watch the full video. We'll be uploading it in all our channels, and also we can connect you with our mentors if they have any queries or anything. I think we can just be a medium, and we can connect them with you people, and that way also your queries will be answered. So thank you.
Thank you too.